This story will anger a lot of you, and actually I'm super angry just creating this video. Since Labour have taken power, we have seen them cut back in every area, with the pensioners' winter fuel allowance being one of the biggest stories. However, we have some news for you as migrants are set to be in taxpayer-funded hotels for another 3 years due to backlog. Working Britons are shelling out £4.2 million every day to provide bed and board for 30,000 migrants in hotels. We will discuss this in detail in today's video, whilst also going over all of the latest news from up and down the country. But first, hit the like and subscribe button and join our fast-growing community. Migrants could be staying in taxpayer-funded hotels for as many as 3 more years, thanks to an uncleared asylum backlog, despite Labour's pledge to restore order to the system. Across 250 British hotels, some 30,000 migrants are being put up at Britain's expense, to the tune of £4.2 million every day. That sits alongside a further 61,778 in dispersal accommodation, smaller private accommodation across the country, or former university student halls. Despite Labour's own manifesto vowing to end asylum hotels, Home Secretary Yvette Cooper and other ministers have realised that cutting down on the backlog will take much longer than previously thought, The Times reports. Home Office officials had expected to close the last hotel within a year, but an unnamed Whitehall source has raised fears that it might take thrice as long. They told the newspaper that the situation was much worse than we thought, adding, "It's going to take a lot longer to clear than we anticipated. It certainly won't be cleared in a year." During general election campaigning, Sir Keir Starmer had said, "If we were to carry on with this government, we would have the best part of 100,000 asylum seekers in this country, none of whom are being processed." The backlog currently stands at some 87,217 claims, awaiting initial decisions within 12 to 18 months. Alongside that 5-figure sum sit an additional 137,525 migrants awaiting the outcome of appeals, or waiting to be removed from Britain. The backlog was worsened by a slide in productivity immediately after Rishi Sunak called the general election. The number of decisions made by caseworkers at the Home Office plummeted from 14,148 per month in April to just 2,990 in June, despite the number of staff remaining the same. Each of the department's 2,500 caseworkers was getting through just 2 asylum cases or substantive interviews per month on average in June, down from 7 in April. However, Home Office sources have insisted that this has been reversed, claiming that productivity has improved substantially, with about 11,000 claims being processed in the last month. A Labour source said, "We have inherited a completely failed immigration system from the Tories, including spending over £700 million on Rwanda, and gimmicks that didn't work. We're working on clearing down the backlog they left behind after years of just doing nothing. This is a disgrace and just angers me. What are your thoughts on this? Let me know," and he comments. In other news, the government has lost control of immigration due to stupid decisions made by ministers, according to Shadow Home Secretary James Cleverly. He said in an interview, "The figures about asylum seekers, and arrivals and any backlog were reported every single quarter. If Labour are telling you or anyone else they did not know the figures, they are lying. The figures were in the public domain. The pressure that is building is because of their decision to dismantle some of the work I was doing to break the business model of the people smugglers. 11,000 people have arrived illegally on small boats since Labour took office. That is a big increase. People are dying in the Channel. They have lost control because they had a plan to win the election, but no plan to govern. And just as Rachel Reeves is trying to deceive the British people about the tax rises that she is about to announce in the budget, they are trying to deceive the British people, because their stupid decisions cost lives in the Channel and now will reverse the programme I had closing asylum hotels." Asked if the Tories were wrong to adopt the Stop the Boat slogan, he said, "Stopping the boats was absolutely what we wanted to achieve, but my frustration was that because we focused on those 3 words, we didn't tell the British people that our work with the French authorities stopped about half of the attempted boat crossings. We didn't really get a chance to talk about that because we kept using that slogan, the fact we were interrupting the supply of illicit outboard motors, which was making it hard for the people smugglers, the fact we were interrupting their supplies of illicit finance again. All these things were making the smuggling operation much harder for these criminals. But because of those 3 words, and because people were saying, "Have you stopped the boats?" and of course, we weren't able to say yes. I think it obscured the really fantastic work that we had been doing for quite some time. The aspiration was absolutely sound. I wanted to and still want to stop the boats, but having that as a yardstick of our performance, I think, obscured the good work that we've done. Asked if he had been attacking Kemi Badenoch, he said, "No. Kemi is a long-standing friend. We've been campaigning together for a very, very long time. What I said is that when candidates are asked questions and give answers, they have to be held account to the answers that they have given. But I have always campaigned positively about my own record, my own ideas, and my own capabilities, and I've always said other candidates have to run their campaigns in the way they feel appropriate." In other news, a former firefighter who paid children to send him explicit images online has been jailed after a trial. Robert Stevenson would use social media sites and message women online, offering them money to send naked pictures, with many being young girls. A former firefighter who paid children to send him explicit images online has been jailed after a trial. Robert Stevenson would use social media sites and message women online, offering them money to send naked pictures, with many being young girls. Stevenson had spoken to the girl via direct messages on Instagram, asking her if she wanted to make £100. The conversation later moved to Snapchat, with Stevenson telling her he was 17 after she told him she was 17. He was arrested, and his devices were seized. Checks on them found he had been messaging a number of girls, and had paid several of them to send him photos and videos of themselves. Analysis of his bank account found numerous payments he had made to several girls. He was subsequently charged with a number of offences, including cause, incite, the sexual exploitation of a child aged 13 to 17, cause, incite a girl aged 13 to 15 to engage in sexual activity and making an indecent pseudo-photograph of a child. After denying the charges, Stevenson was found guilty after a trial at Derby Crown Court and has been jailed for 7 years. He has also been handed a sexual harm prevention order and has been placed on the sex offenders register. Child sexual exploitation supervisor Detective Sergeant Sophie Draycott said, "This has been a long investigation, which revealed Stevenson has been communicating with children in a sexual manner right across the country." DS Draycott continued, "His behaviour was appalling and repeated, so I am pleased that he has now been brought to justice for his crimes and is serving a prison sentence. I'd also like to thank all the victims for their bravery and support throughout the case. Now that social media is such a massive part of our society, I'd encourage all parents to please be aware of who their children are communicating with online, urge them to make sure they are not sending any images to anyone, and let their children know that if they do receive any unwanted or inappropriate messages, they should tell an adult." What are your thoughts on what we discussed in today's video? Let me know down in the comment section below. If you've not yet already, make sure you do drop a like on this video and subscribe to the channel for more British content. Thank you. Take care. Goodbye.